New York City, April 17th, 2020. The city that never sleeps had been forced to. The streets were empty, storefronts locked, windows dark. Only the low, haunting wail of ambulance sirens broke the silence. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and fear. Cardboard signs hung in apartment windows. Stay home. Pray for nurses. Plastic bags caught in the wind, scraped along the sidewalk. Somewhere, inside St. Mary's Hospital, a nurse was about to vanish forever. 5 years later, in a cramped records office in downtown Manhattan, archivist Daniel Hughes sorted through a stack of dust-covered boxes. Most of them contained outdated patient logs, but buried deep inside one box was a red folder. On its cover, in bold black ink, 2 words, confidential files. Daniel brushed off the dust and flipped it open. Inside were incident reports, personnel files, and one single photograph. The photograph was of a young woman, dark hair pulled back, wearing blue scrubs, her smile faint, as if she knew the weight of the moment when it was taken. Across the top of her file was her name, Emily Carter. Emily was 32. She had been an ER nurse at St. Mary's Hospital for 7 years. Her colleagues described her as calm, dependable, the kind of nurse who remembered every patient's name, even weeks after they were discharged. Before the pandemic, Emily lived a simple life, hiking in upstate New York on her days off, baking bread in her tiny apartment kitchen, visiting her younger sister in Queens, and bringing her fresh sourdough. When the first wave of COVID hit, Emily didn't hesitate. She volunteered for the high-risk ward, the COVID isolation unit. Her friends warned her, "It's dangerous, Emily. You could get sick." But she only smiled and said, "If I don't help, who will?" On the night of April 17th, 2020, Emily left her apartment at 10:52 p.m. Security footage shows her walking down a dimly lit street, hands in her coat pockets, head down. The city around her was ghostly, lifeless. She entered the subway station. The platform was empty, except for the echo of her footsteps. When the train arrived, Emily stepped inside. There was only one other passenger, a man in a long, dark coat. He sat at the far end of the car, his face hidden in shadow. She never looked at him, but the camera caught him watching her. At 11:03 p.m., Emily exited the station near the hospital. 4 minutes later, she walked through the front doors of St. Mary's, swiped her badge, and turned left, toward the isolation ward. The hallway security camera captured her, walking past room 12. Her steps slowed. She looked toward the end of the hall, as if she saw something. And then, the feed went black. For 10 minutes, there was nothing. Just static. When the feed returned, the hallway was empty. Officially, the hospital claimed Emily worked her full shift and left normally. But there was no footage of her leaving, no witnesses, and her car was still in the parking lot the next morning. Her sister called her phone repeatedly. No answer. The voicemail greeting, her cheerful voice, suddenly felt like a message from another lifetime. Detectives interviewed staff. Some said they never saw her that night. Others claimed they heard her voice over the intercom, after she had supposedly left. The timelines didn't match. Nothing made sense. Back in 2025, Daniel turned the pages of Emily's file. Most were routine documents, schedules, performance reviews. But at the bottom, tucked between 2 blank pages, was a small black USB drive. On it, a single video file. The date, April 17th, 2020. The time, 11:14 p.m. The title, Wing C. Daniel frowned. Wing C didn't exist on any hospital map. At least, not on the maps given to the public. Daniel slid the USB into his laptop. A loading bar appeared. And then, the screen froze. A single frame came into view. Grainy, black and white security footage. Emily, walking down an unfamiliar hallway, and beside her, a tall figure in a surgical mask, holding something in his left hand. Daniel leaned closer. The man turned his head toward the camera, and the screen went black. Next time, we open the file.